Hey, it's Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast. Welcome back on a Wednesday morning. And if you're watching from around the world, we're going to bring in from Denver, Colorado, Doug Sabanosh. Hope that's right. Sabanosh. Doug, would you help me? Tell me, did I do your name justice?
You did. I've definitely heard. I've heard worse. So Sabanosh, yes.
I like it. So Sabanosh is an uncommon name. Where is it from?
It's actually Slovak.
Slovak.
Yes, my dad's family. He's the second generation from Slovenia, and came over. And actually, he spoke the native language at home. So
I actually got a chance to go to Slovenia in the recent past and enjoyed my trip through there. I was on the cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest.
Oh, cool.
And really enjoyed my time going through your country, your generations past country. So,
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, you are with Digital Consulting Services. You're the owner. You do a lot of work in Denver. Tell us a little bit about how you got started and that business, and how's it going for you out there?
It's going very well, actually. I got started. I was working as a marketing executive and content director at a few companies, and my friends were starting small businesses and asked me for some marketing advice and how to start and website advice. I started way back in 1998 with Time Inc., working as a website, not really developer. I worked with a team of developers, but I worked more on the content side. So I knew a lot about it and had a lot of experience from the get-go. So they kind of asked me a lot of questions on how to get started online, what's the best way to sort of market products and services online. So it started as a side hustle, really, before I even knew what side hustle meant. I was just helping friends and family, and it turned into a full-time gig.
You know, that's very similar to what I did. I kind of started over my dental career in 1997 and moved to a new town, and I had a lot of free time. And so I took up a second hobby job called webmaster for dentist.
Okay.
And in 1998, I was offering other dentists that opportunity and, built 20, 30, 40 different websites and maintained them for about 5 years before I got busy enough to where I couldn't maintain two things at once. And I gave it up. And now here I am,
Right.
25 years later, back doing the same thing.
Right. It's interesting how life is circular like that.
So you enjoy doing digital consulting. What's the nature of your practice and what's the scope of it?
The nature is, I focus a lot on small businesses with my experience at some Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies. I like the startup and the small business community because there's not really red tape to go through. A lot of times you don't miss the marketing trend by pitching it to a board or some team that needs to decide whether it's the way they want to go. So really working one-on-one with owners and founders to establish a strategy and execute a plan.
When I work with dentists, it's one-on-one, but it's very hard, I found, to get into a corporation of, the DSO industry where you got to go through, like you say, boards and committees, and you're screened out by so many people. You found
Absolutely.
the same thing?
Absolutely. Yep. And I found I butted heads a lot with early in my career when I didn't know too much about how how to not stick up for myself and really show so much passion for my ideas was sales. Sales has one goal, and that's to make the sale. Where we had marketing, and they called us the party throwers and things like that. But once I realized how much I could learn from sales and work with them, that it's really a symbiotic relationship. They need us as much as we need them. We're not deal closers. I've worked on the sales floor for years. Been in rooms where I've made 100, 125 calls a day, pitching products and services and things like that. So I get it. I don't particularly want to focus all my time on that. I'm more of, from my journalism background, I'm more of a content creator. So I like to work with salespeople and owners and even product engineers, things like that, to figure out how things work, what problems they solve, and then talk with the salespeople to understand what the people are saying, who they're talking to, what rejections and objections they're getting, what questions they're getting, and then enable them to sell more, work with the team to develop the content and the strategy to touch the people that we can help, and basically matchmake from there. Here's the problem we solve, and we understand that you suffer from that problem, so let's talk and see if it's a good fit.
That's an excellent point you made. And you actually had 3 gems in that one set of comments that I want our audience to kind of hear define more as they relate to doing business. One, a small solopreneur, small business has a hard time going up against enterprise businesses and offering something useful to them. And you typically will fail. You'll usually get shut out. So that was one. Number 2 is you've got to focus your efforts in a place that you can make a difference rather than just thinking you can leap to the top. You need to start at the bottom and work up.
Right.
So what else is it that you've noticed that causes people to fail as you're a consultant to people? Is it mostly in the marketing area?
Marketing's one of them. It's the failure to really establish a plan and really find out who your customer is and what problem you solve. Everybody's looking for a solution, whether it's a mop or it's a footbed or an insole or it's a sauce product, accounting software. Somebody's suffering from the problem you solve. Most products come out of somebody experiencing that problem and making a better solution from it. A lot of software these days, as a service, are developed because people working on a team figured out a way to do something better, faster, and more effective. So they kind of spun off and created a solution for that. A lot of ERP, enterprise ERP software started like that. The whole CRM business started like that with, keeping notes. We used to keep spreadsheets back in the day of, when we called people, what they said, really log calls and record them, and then go back at the end of the day and listen on headphones and type what they said and get little good pieces out. So you really need to find where you fit and find the people who fit with your problem, your solution, who have the problem, and who can afford it, who are in that price point. And really what motivates them, it's more psychographics than demographics these days, because the market's so loud. There's so much noise in the market with so many different choices that you really have to hone in on the people who can actually use your product to solve their problem.
Yeah, you hit upon a real key word there in my belief system. It's psychographic.
Mm-hmm.
identified psychographics about 20 years ago as an important differentiator in how people make decisions. And so I focused my questionnaire to intake people into the dental practice on their psychographic rather than just their demographics. And so I guess that's a marketing concept that I happened upon being that I was interested in marketing. And you found the same thing, that psychographics drives decisions?
Yes, it's really what motivates people. One of my old bosses used to say, if you can figure out what keeps them up at night and make them sleep better, you're gonna go a long way. And it's actually true to really make it that simple. And a lot of small business owners, being one myself when I started off, there are a lot of sleepless nights. There are a lot of things batting around in my head back in the day of, how do I solve this? Where do I go here? So much noise in my own head about my own business that I really had to step back, reflect, and say, okay, what am I doing here? Where do I want to go? And figure out a strategy on how to get there. It's, goals. I like that goals are a one-time thing, right? But the plan and the system to get there and achieve goals is a repeating system, right? So if you can refine and perfect the system, then you can pretty much predictably achieve goals over and over again.
Yeah, is that continual improvement, 1% increase in success every day adds up to that goal being reached, right?
Yep, that's atomic habits right there.
One of my mentors once told me, if you want to sell something, just get people to remember the pain.
Yep, absolutely.
And just do the things that cause people to understand that you have the solution to their pain. And as a dentist, that's easy to see the analogy since we deal in actual pain. But what are the pain points that people have in your client base? What causes them sleepless nights?
Time, money, and resources are the top three, without a doubt. They don't
loss of.
Well, for marketing and sort of most business owners aren't marketers. They're business owners for their product or their service. So whether you get like I said, a SaaS company or a financial advisor or a lawyer, they're great at their discipline, but they're not marketers. So they don't really know the finer points of what to do. So what we do is we help them by asking them some questions and then really figuring out a strategy and mapping out a plan for them to, achieve what they want to achieve in a predictable and repetitive way.
Sounds like a reasonable approach to me.
Yeah.
When I was studying under Jake Conrad Livingston, the guerrilla marketing author.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep.
I saw in his book 200 things that are decidedly guerrilla marketing tactics. And I was pretty naive about marketing, but I was, interested. So I did all 200 things related to what my business was, dentistry.
Right.
It propelled me totally to being one of the most successful dentists in all of North America.
Right.
So
it works.
If you have something to follow, a prescription, it's going to work.
Absolutely.
And all a business needs is a mentor or somebody that can show them the success secrets, And speaking of that, what are the things that you line up as 3 of the best things you recommend people do?
Well, be curious, right? Curiosity enables continuous learning, adaptability, which are really, 2 of the keys to success, right? So if you're curious on, really asking questions and open to understanding some things that you're not comfortable with, and finding the answers to those questions. It really helps you just grow and mature along your journey, right? I'd say being imaginative. All things are within the realm of a plan, right? All ideas are great. Some of them, sure, they don't work, but until you try them and you implement them and you really kind of study and break them down, you don't know. So to be imaginative and think about the person who holds the sign and spins the sign on the street corner, right? That's pretty imaginative. Who thought of that? But obviously it works because it's been going on for 20 years. So just little things. Sometimes what you don't think will work actually works. Who'd have thought email still works to this day, and it's worked for 25 years. It's still one of the most, if not the most effective marketing tactic, returning a 42-to-1 return rate. So it's just being imaginative. Don't leave anything out. And with that, you have to establish effective modes of communication. Everybody's got to be on the same page. You can't be selling your product. You can't be selling boots to people who want to buy socks, right? You need to all be on the same team, all be on the same page, and communicate effectively. So you're all speaking the same language, talking the same message, and really promoting the same product and the same services and the same solution.
So you're talking about a meeting of the minds, having the right mindset as your clients, so you're on the same page.
Yep.
One thing you mentioned right at the beginning was about your first point.
Curiosity. Be curious.
As soon as you said that, a quote came to my mind, and it made me think about that mindset of people. You said curiosity, and I thought of curiosity kills the cat.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
you said it's just the opposite. Curiosity opens the door.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so I started thinking about, how your mind goes off on rabbit trails. And as soon as you said curiosity, and I thought of that quote, my mind went to something I was thinking of this morning, and that was the word wisdom. Wisdom in the Bible is the ability to call things by the right names. Said Confucius, not in the Bible, but Confucius said that. And the Bible says that wisdom is the fear of God, begins with the fear of God. Right. And then Socrates says to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And so all that comes back to mindset. What's your point of view, how you look at something? And if you're a marketer, you're different than if you're the owner of a business. You look at things different.
Right.
And you may not come up to the right conclusion if you're a business owner who doesn't understand marketing.
Right.
And that's kind of your point, is you've got to communicate with each other, and you got to rely on the strengths of the expert to bring in somebody like a consultant.
Yeah, and it's really explaining sort of the critical thinking that goes into it, right? So, it's and everybody says this, but it's true, right? The data backs up the ideas, and if you show somebody an idea and really explain it to them and explain the reasons and the foundation for your critical thinking and what spurred the idea, you can lean on some data that says, hey, according to this is a great way for you to go because it's worked in 8 out of 10 instances, right? Or 7 out of 10 instances. So let's keep that on, let's keep that as a campaign or part of the plan, and we can implement it, monitor it, and tweak it as we go. or fold up the tents and delete it if it's not working. And that's sort of the beauty of the nature of these days is, you set up the system and, implement the plan with some data-backed solutions, and, you can really monitor things as they go, tweak if necessary, or just, like I said, kind of fold up shop and move in a different direction.
Yeah, I have to agree 100%. Management by numbers and statistics, it makes such a difference. And I've spoken with a lot of marketing agencies who really rely on that as their number one process.
Yeah.
They can have a lot of gut feeling, but really it's the numbers that matter.
Right. Absolutely. And I'd say it's a mix of the two. With me is, gut feeling is I still think it's relevant, because experience matters. And, the data doesn't take in all the variables. It takes a whole heck of a lot of them, but there are some that, are a little left up to the gut and kind of how things are going, and the state of the state, the inside of the company, the way the owner is, the way the investor is, or what the goal actually is. It might not be to just make money. It might be to serve a sector and squeeze as much out of that sector as you can and service, the finite universe within that sector and be fine with it. Right. So it's just, it all depends on the situation, but yeah, data is 90% of
now,
the equation.
Do you find that artificial intelligence, the AI products that are coming out, are starting to dig in to the softer points, the psychographics, for instance, so that you can actually plug in data that mimics gut feeling?
I think it's getting better for sure, but there still are some biases in the background, some, I guess, numbers in the algorithm that don't have as much experience as, say, someone with your experience, because you're not writing the algorithm, right? So you don't know to look for that data point and to measure it. So I think, it gets better and better. I would say each hour of every day, right? What was really good working with AI yesterday is even better today. So, and whether that has to do with the algorithm that's written or just the learning ability of the machine itself, I definitely think, yes, it's getting better. Absolutely. And it's a great tool just to kind of bang some ideas off of that's really non-judgmental and really kind of runs the data. It's like, what's our base point? Do we have any shot of reaching the island from this point in the ocean? Or are we going to run out of food and water, or what have you? So it's pretty good in that.
So talk about your company's motto, Digital Consulting Group.
Our motto literally is to enable small businesses to compete with large scale businesses by putting them in front of the audiences that they can help without throwing a bunch of money at it. A lot of my clients first come in as, what's our Google AdWords budget? I only have this much and that much to spend. And it's like, well, let me just tell you that as a baseline will not work with Google AdWords. You will not get much traction with, say, $500 as a monthly budget, right? So we can budget out what you would need to spend to achieve some goals to get some traffic and then work with conversion rates to see, kind of what the potential is there. But perhaps that's not the best avenue, because you have larger companies throwing a lot more money at it, that they're just going to outbid you, or
A lot
so
of people don't
we
realize
all
Google AdWords are bid on. They don't know that.
right, and we can figure out how much they'll pay. We can figure out how much their competitors spend each month, right? And a lot of it is 3, 4, or 5 times what they're willing to spend. And I get it. As a small business, my first thought was Google AdWords, and then I really started digging into it, and I was like, whoa, I'm not in the position right now to hit the CPC realm yet, because I'll just simply I'll pay for nothing, right?
Yeah, you're just throwing money after good.
Right, absolutely. So we work with them to figure out where that money is better spent, where it's more effective. Local SEO for a lot of local businesses is the way to go, because we can geofence an area of, say, 10, 20 square miles, and really hone in on the local SEO and local search there. For national companies, depending on what again, I'll go back to sort of my 2 businesses that I work with most are SaaS companies and financial services companies, where they have a lot of information to push out. So inbound marketing works great, and it's very cost effective, and it actually generates more leads than traditional outbound marketing.
Well, this is a answer to the question that I'm asking and showing the audience right now, is why somebody should buy from you is your experience knowing what people shouldn't do as much as what they should do.
Right. Yeah.
So what about your ideal client? Who would that be?
I like working with smaller SaaS and financial services companies, around the 25 million and under, 10 to 25 million. But I get a lot of satisfaction in helping the 1 to 2 million on the precipice of scaling to the 10 to 15 million. They really have something there. They have kind of the bare bones of a team. They have the knowledge and the understanding, and that they just need a plan. And they're just looking for somebody like me to come in and really dissect their product or service, and give them a strategy and a plan, and work with their team to implement it. And I'm not one who's looking for a job at a company, right? So I'm not a consultant who wants to take over a marketing team or be the CMO. I'm there merely as someone outside to take an outside look, to notice some things, to offer some help, and to train a team on some best practices and more efficient and effective ways to run campaigns and run programs.
You're like a mid-course corrector who comes in, does job, and leaves. Yeah.
Right. Yep. And then I'm always just a phone call away. Some people dear to me in my life tell me that I give way too much away. I had a client and decided, I'm probably not the best person for you at this point. Take everything that we've talked about. I am a phone call away, and if you want some services that I can help with, because if you want some blogging services or email services or really a la carte, I'm more than happy to help. But and yeah, I got a little, why'd you give them all that and all that stuff? It's like, well, what am I going to do with it? And what I did is I learned something about a new sort of sector, about a new business, and I refined my Excel spreadsheets and my reporting and things like that. So I got something out of it. But what I did was I walked away, and he walked away with smiles on our face that said, all right, now I kind of have the bare bones of a plan. I can get with my team. We can figure out where we want to go from here. And, I'll most likely, he said, I'll most likely give you a ring in, a week to 10 days to figure something out.
Excellent. I mean, that's the way you interface with the public. You bless people, and it all comes back to you.
Well, yeah, and like I said, I learned a lot, and every challenge or every sort of client for me is a learning opportunity. I don't know everything, I know a lot of marketing, and I know how to make businesses grow, but I don't, in terms of every sector or every industry, or every facet of every industry, I certainly don't know that, but I love to learn. I love research. My parents still say to this day that I should have been a lawyer, because I just love researching, and I love coming up with a plan. It's just kind of how I grew up. And my journalism background really, getting pieces of the story and putting all the pieces together, really, I just love it.
So is there any specific technique you use to get new clients? You said that the Google ad spends were just way too expensive for a small business, which I tend to agree. What do you find your best way?
Inbound marketing is usually the best tactic, especially in the service and industries I work with, because there's a lot of information that people want to know, and there's a lot of questions that people have. So if you can focus a lot of your time on answering the questions that people have about solving a problem, and show how your product or service solves that problem, you can push out a lot of information that kind of, first of all, sometimes it shows people that they do in fact have a problem, right? Some people are as we call it, or problem unaware, right? They don't know what they don't know. So they don't know that, say, their accounting system or their accounting software is obsolete, and there's a better, easier way at a much better price point for their budget. So once they understand that, and they're like, wow, I can do this for $50 cheaper, and it's faster, and it's a one-click export, right? They don't know that until we kind of answer that question: is there a better solution? Is there a one-click export to my accounting needs?
If you can show people that it's better to do it another way, because having said we always do it this way isn't always the best result.
No, not at all. And back in the day, I've had some people, so why do we continue to use this system? Well, we've always used the system. And it was like, okay, well, there's a better way. Well, there's a learning curve associated with that.
The comfort thing is big for people.
Absolutely. Yep. But if you can kind of weigh the pros and cons, right, and show them that the solution, there's a learning curve, but on the back end you're going to save way more time, so that learning curve goes away, because there's a plus aspect to the time savings in the long run.
Tell our audience about your well-defined product or service that you offer. What's the name of it?
Well, it's really inbound marketing. So it's a combination of content, sales materials for people, for salesmen, for a sales team, so sales enablement, email, reach out, and then CRM, really giving salespeople the what I like to say, the bullets in the bandolier to answer every question, have every piece of product material that they need to show or deliver to a prospect. So, if a prospect asks a question, they have a piece of sales material at hand that they can show them. Oh, let me give you a quick, I'll send you a quick case study we just did about that question, where we showed that solution and how it worked for a company in your similar situation.
That's good information. I think you identified inbound marketing succinctly for the audience to understand exactly your niche, and something that's very important for every company to have that aspect. Now, tell us about the platform that you would rely on for creating the success in the inbound marketing.
We use HubSpot, but I've certainly used Salesforce and Pardot as the sort of CRM email system. For smaller companies, there's, MailChimp has gotten very, very good. However, the CRM system really isn't there. So, for the companies in the niche I work for at the price point, HubSpot is really good in that it takes care of everything, really. It has really good data. It has really good call logging and file sharing. And the email system's great. You can tell who's opened emails, what they've clicked on, if they've downloaded materials, things like that. And you can set up alerts. So if a salesman has emailed someone with a case study, they can get an alert as to when somebody downloaded the case study. And we have data that tells you what the closing rates are for calling from anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. The closing rate goes down exponentially from 1 minute to 4 minutes. So you can really kind of, with a case study or something like that, you can give them 5 minutes before you give them a ring. But it's, I see you've downloaded the case study, and what do you think about it? Does it sort of jive with what you're thinking and what problem you have? And does the solution that we found for company B work for you?
This sounds like rudimentary artificial intelligence is already starting to be placed into this group of platforms you're talking about. And these are some of the valued aspects that people enjoy. What would you say is the most valuable feature of these platforms?
I'd say the direct emailing and the sort of interaction, the engagement with the user. So we also do a lot of lead scoring. So we can set up systems that basically log and track engagement of website users. What pages they've looked at, what case studies and documents they've downloaded, what videos they've watched, and for how long, to really dial in who the prospect actually is and what they're looking for. So we can hone it down to 1 to 3 situations where we kind of know what problem they have and what solution they're looking for, simply by looking at their website and document engagement.
Yeah, a business owner has no way of knowing these things without specific knowledge and specific platforms, right?
Right. Absolutely. And the setup on the back end, you have to basically take a look at what pages are and assign a value to them. And an example would be, the download of a case study or the watching of a video would be, say, a 50 or 100, depending on what the material is. But a contact us page would be 125, right? Or whatever, value you want, a higher value. but sort of a jobs board or a careers page, that'd be a negative. That'd be a minus 25 because a prospect is not somebody who's looking for a job, right? There's somebody looking for a solution.
That lead scoring moment we just spent was extremely valuable because we don't get to talk about that very often. I think you could do a whole hour on lead scoring.
Gosh, yes.
That's just amazing what you just said. So people should realize that the value of activity on a website can be scored, and they don't even typically know that.
No, and literally we can set say a waterfall, right, where we've had past success with, say, somebody who's reached 80 points, right? So we can set the system up to ping the salesman who's responsible for that group of individuals or say that persona or what have you, however you want to, what term you want to call it, to get alerted when somebody has gone over the 80 point mark, right? So we've had great success on people who have scored 80 points. We actually have a 75% closing rate over 80 and only a 40% closing rate under 80. So we can set up the system to, like I said, alert the salesman. So now the salespeople's time is used more efficiently. They're calling people who actually are interested, and they've shown their interest by engaging with content or emails and things on the website. So it actually makes the salespeople more efficient in the use of their time.
Yeah, targeted traffic, qualified leads is the name of the game in conversions and sales. So yeah, I really enjoyed the back and forth where we're getting something for the audiences they call the sizzling of the steak right now.
Right. Yeah.
Now, there's another question that I ask about this platform business. What's the missing feature that you wish would be added that you have identified?
The missing piece. I think the integration, and it's coming. I mean, it's there, right? But it would be the integration of the data I just said, the user engagement into email messaging, right? So the salesperson would spend less time producing emails and producing outreach than they do now. So the templates would get a little bit more streamlined with variables, like they have the personalization of the variables with, hi, first name, where they can grab those other sort of pieces with more personalization. Because personalization is where you really have to go. It's like I said before. You can't be pushing boots on somebody who wants socks, right? And the more personalization you can get, the more streamlined your process is.
Have you been able to work this personalization into more, not just email, but text message or direct message in different apps?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's the key.
But again, it's all on the cost basis. So it's all budgeting. What tools within the budget, what tools you can use, and sometimes you have to leave some out, right, within the budget. So you really have to prioritize what the best tools are for you, and then kind of hope that hey, maybe next quarter, if we achieve our goals, we can add this tool, which then in the long run will save us some more time.
Absolutely. Well, I've seen artificial intelligence start to make inroads into these very questions that they
Absolutely.
are helping to personalize all of our messaging, different platforms. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Let's jump into the question of, Doug, what you are grateful for today, being in Denver, being in the U.S., having a family. What really is your point of most gratefulness?
Well, I'm certainly grateful for my family, my wife, my kids, for the support and the belief in me, to keep doing what I love to do every day. I love being in Denver. I'm grateful for the weather here. Don't tell anybody. But yeah, we really don't. It's really not as cold as people think. We do have some cold snaps a year, but it's the sun is always shining, which is great. I love that, and the diverse community, and really it's a really big tech center here in Denver. It's really growing, and it's getting more tech savvy, and with Google making their second biggest campus in Boulder, that's certainly a really cool thing to see kind of what they're doing. And Facebook and Twitter are all out here, so it's really a booming economy still, and the sun is always shining. So, and I'm grateful for my clients. I gotta, without their belief in me and working as a team with me and communicating and really kind of honing in on their goals, I really wouldn't have, obviously wouldn't have the business without my clients.
What do you say is the goal of where you want to go from this point?
I want to continue to grow and help small businesses on a grander scale. I think I have some budding marketers with friends and family who are perhaps looking for some summertime jobs. So kind of growing and showing them the business, and using their outside look, especially with social media, and using their talents in that vein to grow businesses. But ultimately to retire and do some fun stuff in retirement.
I know how the feeling is on that.
But I'm not sure. I love doing what I do so much that I think there'll always be some phone calls and some mentoring and some coaching, just throughout my life. I just enjoy it so much.
Yeah, it is the beautiful thing about getting to the place where you have choices. And if you're a consultant, you never have to stop, but you can only work whenever you want to, because nobody's telling you what to do. That's a beautiful part of it.
Yeah.
I have a question that I always like to ask marketers who are working as an agency to help people. Based on your experience, what percentage of revenue do you recommend people investing in paid digital media?
Well, it depends on it depends on goals, but I would say anywhere from 15 to 20%, maybe,
of their marketing budget.
Yeah.
Now, I would tend to agree to that, and take
it's
it
on the lower scale, though.
Take it to the next
10,
level.
12.
If you're talking about marketing in general of the total budget, how much would most companies, brick and mortar companies, not digital companies, how much would they typically spend on marketing in total?
In total, it's only about 10 to 20% of their, I'd say, annual revenue.
So 10 to 20% of annual revenue from total marketing, and about 10 to 20% maximum for paid digital media. And that leaves a lot.
It's all about what stage you're in as a company, if you're looking for branding and top of mind, you'll throw some more into digital marketing and to remarketing, to show people and have your brand in their face quite a bit, right? So it's brand recognition. But if you're more looking for conversions and looking to kind of be in a different space, then the budget's a little different.
Then more
A little
inbound.
lower. Pardon?
Yeah. Then it's more inbound marketing.
Absolutely. Right.
Makes sense. So what advice would you give yourself if you're looking back at your life and say, okay, 20-year-old self, here's what you should do?
What advice? I would be I'd be a little more patient and have trust in myself, and perhaps ask more questions, and jumpstart my curiosity a little earlier. I was really focused. Again, I started as a journalist, so I was really focused on just a lot writing stories and pushing that out without sort of what I wanted back, right? So I think being more cognizant of kind of thinking about what the user gets and what's the return for that and for the things I did. I'd tell myself to do that.
I identify with that a lot because I'm more of a producer and I'm less of
Right.
a salesman. And
Right.
so sometimes I create stuff and I say, why don't people want it?
Right.
Because I'm not selling it so much, but you learn to be
Exactly.
a salesman over time, right? As you did, you got your sales done.
Yeah. Well, that and I learned to speak with salespeople. They can tell you a lot about the target market and actually who is looking for the product and sometimes more importantly, who's not looking for the product. So it really whittles down an audience and it tells you what questions they're asking and what questions we need to answer as a product or service.
Doug, what do you want to be remembered for when it's all said and done?
I'd say just being a positive influence and making a good positive impact, I guess. Somebody who's reliable and there for support. It's important to me to, like I said, to help people grow and be successful no matter what their goal is, right? So if they don't want to be the best in the world, but they're really focused on just being good at one thing, well, let's get that done. And I hope that I could be a positive influence and impact and somebody who they can rely on for some honest feedback.
Yeah, I would think people would certainly gravitate toward working with you because of that nature that you want to give back to the community. You want to be there for people, and it shows when we go through our interview. Your point of views are all, how can I help other people? So that really does seem to be your MO.
Well, yeah, I mean, without that, I'm sort of not needed, right? So it's really there's just nothing like working with a company, implementing a strategy, figuring it all out, getting all the systems and methods in place, and then having a win and seeing the look on people's face and having a moment in the boardroom or the kitchen or wherever on a Zoom call and just sharing in that we set out to do this and look, we did it. We did it. But now on to the next one, right? We have the systems in place. Let's move forward. But sharing that little success for a small business is fantastic. I love it.
Celebrations along the way do matter for sure.
Yep, absolutely. You got to celebrate the wins.
How can we support you? And be sure and give us a link or connection to your website.
You can find out everything you want to know about my business at wesolvemarketing.com. It'll show all the products and services we offer. Again, it's all a la carte, so you can hire me as a blogger or an email sender, or we do offer hosting and website building as well. Our hosting platform is incredible. It offers the real differentiator is we do not provide shared IPs. So we're all our service is all dedicated IPs. So you have your own IP. So there's no sharing it with any other business. So if something nefarious is going on with a shared IP, that's bad for business. So we have a dedicated, like I said, IP, and our maintenance and uptime is fantastic.
Very important point. And we saw marketing.com, very straightforward and easy to remember.
Yeah.
What would you say about being on our show today, the Influencers Podcast?
It was great. Like I think we talked about in the green room, right? I like the format. It's not, sort of what do you do, what's your business about, what's your mission and your vision and things like that. It's more personal, and it's more sort of getting into our belief system and how we approach things and that vein. And I appreciate that. It's fun.
We're glad to have hosted you today and had you on our show as a guest. Excellent information. Incoming sales, incoming marketing took on a whole new light today with your expression of expertise. And, I'm always looking for that one little nugget that our audience can take home. And I think they really got a lot today. So thanks for doing that with us today. I want to give you the last. Yeah, I want to give you the last.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, the final word. I'm going to let you have the platform, and then I'll come right back.
The final word, I would just say, make adaptability and customer delight. Customer satisfaction as the sort of linchpins of any small business at this point. Returning a customer is worth a lot more than getting a new one. So retaining your current customers, satisfying them, getting personal with them, and really giving them exactly what they need to succeed will definitely have your business working on all cylinders to create more business. Just through referrals and have people really be advocates for you, just by simply making them feel great about your product or service.
Thank you. That's very excellent comment. Final word from our friend Doug Sabanosh, Denver, Colorado. And it's been a pleasure having you on the Influencer Podcast today. I hope everyone has been listening and taking notes. I hope you will take a picture of the QR code if you're not familiar with us, because I want to be sure you know how to reach me on my OVU card, the digital business card there, that QR code. Now, how did I make that? Well, I used the AI technology from OTrim to make the QR code, to make the shortened URL. That's one of the things that we have in our company that we give away. The OTrim product is a URL shortener with tracking ability. And we give that away on our website. Now, if you're interested in being on the Influencer Podcast yourself, you can contact me through Influencer Podcast section of drbillwilliams.tv, my website for this business. And you'll also see a link to the AI technology and all the things that we do. The digital platform called OConnect is going to be a game changer. The O-Tracker is a great one for marketers. This one would be something that you might like to understand and use or even recommend to your businesses that have websites, Doug, O-Tracker. So right. maybe you'll find a use for it down the road for yourself.
I will definitely look into it. The more, the better.
Thank you so much for being on our show and for enlightening our audience all around the world. Did I tell you we have 195 countries that watch us?
Wow.
And that we have a great audience of hundreds of thousands who turn in. So over time, you can make a definite impact. You are an influencer because of what you do.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're sure welcome, Doug. We're going to tune off today for the Influencer Podcast. We'll see you back on Friday. Have a good one, everyone. Take care.